All right, welcome to our ISTE Lib ISTE preview webinar. We love doing this session because we get to talk about all of the things that we're excited about for ISTE and share some tips and tricks from veteran conference goers and some things that you're going to want to keep in mind as you're planning your sessions and your whole time at ISTE. So we are glad you are here. My name is Heather, and I am a former librarian here in Pennsylvania, and I am now the director of Maker Ed with a company called Mackin, and I do the professional development coordination for our PLN. And just a quick shout out, if you are not officially in our PLN, I would encourage you to join us. We are a great little community of librarians focusing on the integration of tech, obviously, and what that looks like in our unique roles. So we have some couple other ISTE Lib members and leadership teams. So we're going to quick introduce ourselves, and then we will get started talking about ISTE.
All right, I'm going to go next. And one thing that Heather shared was that joining our ISTE Lib PLN, I want to go ahead and put a shout out to the fact that it's free. If you're already a member of ISTE, you can join us. And a great way to do that, we're going to talk a little bit about the Community Networks Fair coming up, but that'll be a great time for you to just go ahead and get on our list and be part of our community. So I'm Sherry Gick. I'm past president, Squared. I'll let you think about that. And I'm coming at you from Indiana, and I'm a former teacher librarian and now work for 5-Star Technology Solutions and get to work with librarians and technologist specialists, and that's not even a word, is it? Technology specialists, let's say that, leadership teams and teachers, and do all kinds of cool stuff. And I'm going to tag in Nancy Jo.
Hi, I'm Nancy Jo Lambert, and I'm actually new to the ISTE Librarian Network leadership team. I just got selected, I don't know, to help. Super excited about it. Can't wait. ISTE was actually my first, ISTE last year, 2017 was my first ISTE. So I'm going to be coming at you with tips and tricks as a newcomer, if you will. So I am a librarian at Reedy High School in Frisco ISD in Frisco, Texas. I'm also the current Texas Association of School Librarians Chair. I'm also the Vice President of the Texas Computer Education Association's Librarian Special Interest Group. I don't know. What's my official job in ISTE? I don't know. But anyways, I'm looking really forward to ISTE 18 and looking forward to serving the ISTE Lib crew. I guess I'm going to pass it off to Linda now.
Thank you. Okay, I'm Linda Doherty. I technically retired from being a high school librarian for 24 years at Northwest High School in Northwest Darwin School District, just outside of St. Louis. But I'm not really retired because it seems like I'm doing a lot of conference presenting. I help out with METC conference here in St. Louis, Education Plus. I'm the Librarian Academy cohort. Last year I had 1 academy. This year I think I have 3. And then I'm also, for some reason, took another job with BER, and I'm running around the country doing seminars with them. So for some reason, I'm retired, but not really. So I'm just thrilled to be helping out with the ISTE PLN since I've sort of been helping out whenever I can. So glad to join the team this year.
And we are super glad to have you. There are a lot more of the ISTE Lib crew that couldn't be here, or they are participating on Twitter, which I do want to mention. So anything, if you can't, you know, if you're not joining us live, but, you know, as we lead up to ISTE, even if you're watching this archived, I would encourage you to share some of the sessions that you're really excited about, or any tips and tricks for others. You can use the special ISTE hashtag ISTE18, or ISTE Lib has our own hashtag ISTELIB. So feel free to add to that at any time. And that's also just a great resource year round. We also have a Facebook group, so make sure that you join that. Post questions, get some answers from some other librarians that may be in your situation. But certainly a lot of the dialogue that's going to be coming up on there is around our conference. So speaking of our conference, if you have never been to ISTE, it is probably the largest conference you've ever been to. There last year, I think we had over 22,000 attendees that were there. The exhibit hall is
over 500 exhibitors this year.
Right. And that doesn't seem like a huge number, but when you get in the vendor hall and you cannot see the wall on the other end, depending on what location we're at, you know, sometimes it's two sides of the building. I mean, it's just, it's massive. So it is a ton of learning, not just in the sessions, but in the vendor hall. And we're going to talk about that. But I say that because when you're looking through the program guide, it can be so overwhelming. So what our PLN has done we have gone through all of the sessions and identified ones that we feel would be great for librarians to go to. So not only have we read the, you know, title, sometimes the title, you can't really get a good feel, but it would take forever to read the session descriptions for all of the conference options. And I'm not sure how many, I'll have to check that out, how many actually conference sessions there are going on. But so something that we have done for you is we have pre-selected some ones that you might want to attend. And the easiest way to get all of that information is if you head to our website, librariansnetwork.weebly.com. There is a really nice graphic that's talking about some of the key events that we're doing. There's also a link to it will actually take you directly to the ISTE program schedule on the ISTE page with some pre-filtered sessions that you can then even filter even further. So if you're just going to be there for one day, you can just see the sessions for that. If you're really interested in a certain type of session, you can filter by that. I would strongly encourage you to start favoriting your sessions. It's not something that you're going to want to do the day of, just because there's so many things there. But I would also encourage you to be prepared to have a lot more sessions bookmarked or favorited, or I think they're stars in the program, than you're actually going to be able to attend.
Now you're just stepping on my part.
What did you say?
I said, now you're just stepping on my part.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say, and we're going to go into further detail about that in just a second. That's what I was going to say. Yeah, and then also we're going to talk about what a playground session is and what that looks like. ISTE Lib actually has our own playground. So I love the playgrounds. They're my favorite type of sessions because they're super hands-on. You can get so much out of spending just an hour at a playground because you're hopping around from table to table. But I would encourage you to check out our playground and other playground sessions. Anyway, you'll find all of that information on librariansnetwork.weebly.com, and you're also going to see this presentation archived. Sherry's going to talk about, in addition to obviously the ISTE Lib PLN, is there are so many big events that are just sponsored by ISTE itself. So including the keynote speakers. So Sherry, who are our keynote speakers this year for the conference?
All right, had to unmute. Sorry about that. Now you're going to make me talk to you about the keynotes. And really, I just wanted to give you some tips about the keynote. Okay, but if you visit the conference.iste.org site, there's actually 5 different featured keynote speakers this year. So from David Eagleman all the way down to Michael Cohen, Andy Ware, Katie Martin, and Nadia Lopez. So if you're not familiar with these people, again, it's a good time to kind of visit the website and click around and see why they are at ISTE and what their, what their research is or what their profession is and why they have this wonderful opportunity to speak to all of us. And I know a lot of people that attend ISTE and don't actually attend keynote sessions. And so that's kind of on my list here as we talk about things. I really recommend, if it's your first time, at least try one keynote session. And I really recommend like the kickoff, because there's just nothing better. I see Linda nodding. There's nothing better than being in that room. And I mean, thousands of people, Heather already told you, usually about 20,000 people are there. at this keynote speaker, and there's usually bands and music, and there's just a lot going on, and it's definitely one of the highlights for me as far as just experiencing that and being part of that crowd. And I'm a person that doesn't really enjoy being around a lot of people like that. So I usually will only do one keynote like that. Although Nancy Jo was there last year and she made me go to more.
I was gonna say, I think we went to at least 2 or 3 last year. I thought they were great. We had a great time.
We did. Because ordinarily I like to watch them from like one of the PLN lounges, and I have good memories of sitting on the floor at one of my first ISTEs in one of the PLN lounges and just kind of looking over and going, oh my God, that's like Steve Dembo sitting over there watching this with us, and Steve's going to laugh now because we're working on a session together. But it's just, PLN lounges are a great way if you're not into being around lots of people in that big crowd, that you can watch it broadcast onto some of the screens there. And it's everywhere. In the bookstore, there's places all over the expo hall where you'll be able to see the keynote speakers going on. But I do recommend that you join us at least once for that. Heather mentioned as far as sessions. And so ISTE has some different types of sessions and regular sessions. You guys all know what regular sessions are as far as going and somebody's kind of giving you information. They also have more interactive sessions. So there's different names for it, whether it's like bring your own device or I think interactive panel. And so there's several different things. When you're sorting through, you can kind of decide which one fits your style best as far as how you learn. One of the session styles that I really enjoyed last year is called No, it's not even on there. They're the bite sessions. They're only 30 minutes. Yeah, and so there were 2 as once, and I'm calling them bites because that's what Q does. Q does the Q bites. Now I can't remember what ISTE called them, but it's like 2 sessions smacked into one. So you have half an hour of one, and then it changes to a separate speaker and you get 30 more minutes. So it's like ADHD presenter and attendee's dream because you get lots of information. And as we talk about that, Heather mentioned playground. We love playgrounds because, again, you're not just sitting. You go in, and our ISTE Lib playground has 11 different presentations going on at once. And they last anywhere from about 40, 45 minutes. And it's more of you're just walking up and interacting. And so maybe they have like an elevator pitch that they're giving you maybe 3 to 5 minutes. That way you can kind of hop around from table to table and talk to different people. So during our playground on Monday morning, I think we have, 44 different actual sessions that'll happen between 8 and 11:30. So lots to do, lots to see. If you want more information about who's presenting, what time, when that's happening, our playground sessions and presenter, that whole schedule is on our website that Heather already gave you, librariansnetwork.weebly.com. Poster sessions are also something that I think that is one of my favorite things everything's my favorite. ISTE's my favorite conference, but I love poster sessions because, again, you're not just sitting in a session waiting for somebody to talk to you and share information. At poster sessions, there's several different tables, and usually there's also students. A lot of people bring students to poster sessions. So if you're interested in really hearing things from a student perspective, those poster sessions are the way to go. And again, they have kind of an elevator pitch. They're just kind of engaging people as they come up and talking and showing you things, and you can go on to different ones. So definitely do not rule out poster sessions because they are valuable sources of information.
I'll say something about poster sessions. I've been to a lot of poster sessions, and poster sessions at ISTE are not like poster sessions at poster sessions at ISTE are like amazing. I mean, the stuff that people bring, the stuff that people share, the fact that they bring so many students to share. I mean, you have to, I think my schedule is probably half poster sessions just because the poster sessions are one of the coolest things I think about ISTE. So.
And I love that, you're going to see a lot of these tools and hear things, in the vendor hall about new things that are coming out. But what I like about the playground and the poster sessions is that you actually get to see how it's being used, not just how to use it, which is great. But I really like seeing how one product is implemented in the library, but then 2, I spend a lot of time at library conferences. It's awesome to see how these tools are being used outside of the library. So kind of unrelated is branch out. You don't just have to go to ones that have like the word library or librarian in the title, that you can learn a ton. Remember, a lot of us are coming, you know, we're representing our school or we're representing our district, and just at the heart of what our job is to connect teachers to resources. You know, bring that notebook and don't just write down things for yourself. Write down and take pictures of things that you can bring back and share with your teachers. So that's another reason why the poster sessions are awesome, because you can take in so many things in such a short amount of time.
I said bring your Google Keep, not your notebook.
This is a Rocket book, and I would recommend bringing the Rocket book. Yes, thank you. All right, Team Linda and Heather.
And guess what? It's okay to have regular notebooks as well. So you take notes however works for you.
Regular notebooks work, I guess.
Speaking of notebooks, let's talk about tips then. It sounds like we're starting to share. What kind of tips do you have for us, Nancy Jo?
Okay, so last year I found when I went to ISTE, one of the big things was, like, I'm used to going to a conference and, you know, setting up my schedule and choosing sessions and being like, okay, this is what I'm going to go to at this time. I've made my decision. But for ISTE, I think it's really important that you, like what Heather was saying earlier, make sure that you have some other choices. So like if you want, you know, if you have a certain time slot that you know you're going to hit a session, have a first choice, second choice, maybe even a third choice. And the reason is because one, sessions at ISTE get really crowded really quickly. Two, if the session is something that you're like, oh, this isn't quite what I thought it was, or I already know this, or oh, this is not what I need at all, then I think everybody here would agree with me. Get up, go to another session. If it's not what you need, go somewhere else. Go to what you need. Go to what works for you. And then two, if a session is, if the line is around the corner and you know you're not going to get in, don't get in that line. Go to your next choice. Like, and then if it is a session like and for instance, last year I was on a panel at ISTE called Hack Your School Library. Hack Your School Library, that was called, right? And that session was crowded. Like, they wouldn't let anybody else in. There were people still in line around the corner. And so if it's a session that you know that you think is going to be popular, get there early, get in line at the door so that you can make sure and get in if it's a session that you absolutely know you want to go to. And then if you're going with other people, with a group of people, one of the things that I have always done with some of my friends is we create a Google Doc, and we create like a table in there, and we put in the sessions and the link to the slides and who the presenter was and their Twitter handle, and we put in, like, you know, takeaways, things to look at later, all kinds of stuff in that Google Doc, and then we share that out with our whole group so that everybody can go to different sessions and put in that information from the sessions they go to, from the poster session, from, I'm not just talking about sessions, like anything you go to at ISTE. And then that way you can put all those resources in there. And then even though you maybe went to 6 or 7 things, you would have a document of 40 things that everybody else went to, with all the resources, links, slides, Twitter handles for people to add to your PLN, all of that kind of stuff. So, you know, when you are preparing to go, before you go, start that doc with your people, with your group, and then share it out. Even share it out and be like, hey, does anybody else want to do collaborative notes with us? Share it out on Twitter, and have people add to it. Share it out to the ISTELib hashtag. See if people want to add to it. So I think that is a really cool way to make sure that you can get stuff from other sessions.
I love that tip, Nancy Jo, because like you said, ISTE is kind of an investment for many systems, right? As far as when you're sending people, you're making an investment because it's not cheap. Nope. And so you want to make sure that you're getting your money out of it. And it's nice to sit with your friends, but it makes more sense from the same system, like you said, to kind of divide and conquer and do that. So I think that's a great tip.
Different stuff, and then share all those resources, and then you have that later. And so then when you're like, wait, what was that thing? You can go back to that Google Doc and you have all the links and everything. Like I sit in every session with my laptop open, my MacBook, and I'm adding links and adding things all along the way so that I make sure that I have all that later. And then I can share that with the other people in my district or my school system or my state or whoever I need to share that with.
Love it.
Another big piece of ISTE, if you're not on Twitter, you got to get on the Twitter. But if you are on Twitter, make sure that you're using all the hashtags when you tweet so that people will see what you're learning, your ahas, all the great things. The big hashtag is ISTE18. I don't know, who uses ISTE 2018? I don't know. I guess that's one you can use.
A lot of people, unfortunately.
You probably better follow both, because there's always this little controversy. Which one's official? Which one are you using? And I have my tweet deck. I always have a column for both, and they'll both be running nonstop.
And then not at ISTE, for all the people that are not at ISTE, I know that the not at ISTE hashtag is huge for the people that don't get to go. So if you can tweet to the not at ISTE, if you've got that real estate available on your tweet, add that in there. And then of course, ISTE Lib. I know that I've been using ISTE Lib for a year or two now on most of my tweets anyways, anything that's library related. So, or awesome just in general, not just library related. So make sure that you're on Twitter. Make sure that you're using all those hashtags when you tweet. So I think there was something else I was gonna say. I can't remember what it was now. If I remember, I'm gonna put a pin in this. If I remember, we're gonna come back to me.
As you're thinking, I'm getting ready to tweet a link that I wanted to share. As you mentioned, not at ISTE. Joyanne Boudreau, she's a teacher librarian here in Indiana, and she has a blog post that she wrote about her experience as far as this will be her first ISTE this year, but she's been kind of participating in ISTE through that not at ISTE hashtag. So I'm going to tweet that out if you are not going to be with us face to face, how to get the most out of that.
Nice.
So we're going to switch gears a little bit, and we're going to talk about the whole other side of opportunities for learning at ISTE besides attending sessions, and that is in the vendor hall. As I mentioned, the vendor hall is, think of the largest conference that you've ever been to and double it. And that is what the ISTE vendor hall is like. Really, like maybe not TCA, but that's different. That's Texas. But anything other than that, it's massively huge.
She knew where I was going with that.
Okay. But really, you could, if you had the opportunity to and you wanted to, you could potentially spend an entire day in the vendor hall. And I want to stress that there is still a ton of learning opportunities in there. A lot of vendors actually do mini presentations, and they will have those scheduled and advertised. So kind of going along that same line of the poster sessions and the playground sessions, that you can actually see how teachers, librarians, tech specialists, admin are using that specific tool or product in their classrooms or in their libraries. So you get to hear their story and actually see them demoing it, how they're using it. I know Nancy Jo is participating in one. Yes, for Macadamia, and Sherry is sharing for Sam Labs, right?
I'll just be sharing with Pixis, I think, but I saw a Pear Deck schedule come out today as far as with the presenters for their booth also. So Mackin should be publishing theirs soon. So just watch the tweets and their websites, because again, if you're only in the exhibit hall, you still can get lots of learning in.
Well, I know like EdTech Team and a lot of other vendors, they bring in lots of people, and especially since this is such a national conference, like that is something that you want to check out. You want to check out when you're getting those vendor emails before ISTE, make sure and click on them and see like what are they having any presentations at their booth? Who is presenting at their booth? Because there may be somebody from your PLN that you're like, oh my God, I've always wanted to see how they do whatever. And so then you're like, yes, I'm gonna go to that. So don't ignore those vendor emails prior to ISTE. And maybe even like if you haven't gotten one from a vendor that you know you know, you're interested in, just shoot them an email and say, hey, are you guys going to be at ISTE? Are you going to have any presentations? Because like Heather said, I present in the Mackin booth, and I show how I use my Mackin Via. And every time I have people that are like, do you work for Mackin? I'm like, no, I'm a librarian in a school. This is just how I use this tool. But I know that a lot of vendors do that. They bring in people that are using these products with their students and their teachers every day. And you can really see how those are impacting the learning and the teaching going on campuses by visiting those vendor booths. So don't count those out.
Right. And it's not, I like it because it's not as big of an investment as going to, you know, a 60-minute session to learn about a tool. You can just get bite-sized chunks. And, you know, I know this because I work for a vendor that we try to, like Nancy Jo, we pull her in because of the unique way that she uses it with her high school teachers and a flexible learning environment with high school students. And but we also try to pull in somebody who does it at an elementary school that doesn't have access to one-to-one devices, so that you can see it from multiple perspectives. Kind of along that same line is I would encourage you to visit both vendors that you already know. So you might know what Pear Deck does, you might know what Vocabulary does, but going to that booth, it can see like, oh, I never really thought about using this tool this way, or seeing how other people are using it. And again, beyond what you're using it in your library, how that tool can be used beyond your walls and going into the classrooms or for your admin team, things like that. And then also, I know sometimes, you know, we get really excited and it is very overwhelming, and we see these big signs, you know, hanging from the ceiling of the vendor hall, and we immediately go to those vendors that we know or that we've kind of heard chatter about. Keep in mind that ISTE is where a lot of products launch. Because it is that, I mean, it's a huge international conference. It's over the summer, so that you know, the vendors know that now is when schools are making decisions about implementation in the fall. So don't bypass things that you've never heard of before. I would encourage you to explore as much as you can. And again, the camera is your friend. Take pictures. I mean, that's what I do a lot. I take pictures, you know, I use Google Photos where it just geotags it, so then I can go back and search everything that I've searched those last, or taken pictures of that last couple days, because then I can revisit it. So that's just something that I do. What were you going to say, Nancy Jo?
I was just going to say, and the other thing about what you were saying a minute ago about that's where products launch, blah, blah, blah. Like the other thing is, for instance, like I've both Bunsey and Quizzes. Quizzes was at TCA, but Bunsey was at ISTE. Like going to those booths where these people are, these are the people that actually like created these things. Like you can actually sit down with the people that are creating these and making changes to them. Be like, hey, it would be great, you know, if it did this, or hey, I love that you guys added this feature. Like, and you can have those conversations with the people that created these tech tools that you're using with your students and teachers on a regular basis. And I think that too is an invaluable piece of the vendor hall experience, is going to some of those vendors for some of the tools that you use, even if it, you know, they have like a tiny booth or just a little table or whatever. Like go and talk to those people, because those are probably the people that are creating those things that you're using. So,
but that's where you want to start, is the little tables, because those are the startups. And so like that's my favorite part, because I do remember when Sam Labs first introduced 4 years ago, and so what that looked like. As we talk about that, one thing we didn't mention was the app. And so like when you're looking for your sessions, the app is a good thing, but also there's a separate section just for your expo hall. And so you can mark your favorite vendors that you know you want to visit, but then you can look at the map and kind of see what's close by and maybe mark some new ones that you want to visit as well. And the app, you got to have it. I mean, like, because it's going to update anytime anything changes. It's going to update all the time. And so definitely, we did mention that, but make sure you get your ISTE app.
Definitely. The other thing I want to mention is, and this is if you've gone to conferences before, you know this handy trick, but bring business cards. If you don't have business cards, run off some mailing labels. There are going to be some awesome giveaways that you're going to want to participate in, or vendors, you know, they want to get back to you with something. And because time is precious, you know, the less time that you have to spend filling out those forms, I just think it's a lot easier. So that has always been something that I got that tip a few years ago when I attended one of my first large conferences, and I I'm so thankful to the person that gave me that tip, just because it does save so much time.
Some people put like mailing labels, the sticky kind, and then not a lot of teachers and librarians may not have business cards, and so don't go to the expense of even trying to have them just for this. So if you just want to print those, and you can just stick it into the entry every single time. But I have old business cards, and I always take old business cards to ISTE because that email address is still good. Google will forward it to where I need it to be, so I take the old ones, and that's how I get rid of them.
That's smart. That's smart. But yeah, the mailing, I mean, until I had taken this job, I had never had business cards. So I did the whole return address label, and, because I put them in Harry Potter font because I don't know, which you can do too. But anyway, you just be prepared. The day that you're walking through the vendor hall, we're going to talk more about like packing tips and clothes to wear. But like that day is the day you're going to want to have your comfortable shoes on, and you're not going to want to fill your backpack with random stuff, because you're going to get a lot of stuff. It's awesome that vendors are giving away swag, and I'm not just talking about swag. I'm talking about, these are brochures and pamphlets of things that you want to go back, and sometimes you're going to want to take a couple to give out to your entire department, things like that. Just be prepared that day. If you have the opportunity, do your morning, then go unload at your hotel and come back in the afternoon, and then go unload again, because really you will have more than you can pick up, which is something else I want to mention, because I know a lot of people are flying in, and just keep that in mind, that anything that you pick up in the vendor hall, you have to find a way to get home. So it can be very easy to just walk by these tables and take away all of this free stuff that vendors are giving away. I'm totally guilty of that, like t-shirts out the wazoo, but then you have to fit them in your suitcase to get back. So either be prepared to be shipping something back, or, what some people do is they will actually put another empty suitcase in their suitcase. So I know I fly Southwest a lot. You get 2 free check bags. I'll check one, but then when I come back, I can take out that smaller suitcase that was inside the bigger one and fill it with stuff. And truly, you could fill it. I'm not exaggerating if you wanted to. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I did all my maternity shopping at ISTE. No joke. I'm like, give me larges, guys. Just give me larges. So, I mean, you can do that.
Well, last year, one of the vendors was giving away the Magic 8 balls. And when I went to fly home, the airport had a huge trash bin of all the Magic 8 balls that they were collecting from all the ISTE people, because they wouldn't let those through security. So just be aware of that kind of thing too, because they had liquid in them. They had liquid in them, and they were like, "What's in this thing?" I'm like, it's just a
Bummer. So anyway, vendor halls, and everything. And Sherry's going to talk about this, but like for me, the biggest thing about ISTE is people. I love talking with the vendors. I love talking with the session presenters. As somebody who does a lot of presenting, I sometimes go to sessions not because of the content, but because I want to see the way that presenter is working with the audience. As librarians, even if we're not doing like formal pedia conferences, we're working with teachers. And so seeing how other people work with adults and deliver this, tech training or whatever it is, can be very, very powerful. But there are so many opportunities to talk and learn from people, but we do, especially for, those of you that are introverts, that it's step out of your shell. There's plenty of time if it's overwhelming, but there are so many different opportunities, I guess, for you to network for people, not just at the sessions and at the formal ISTE event. Remember, it's in one city that 20,000 educators are coming together. You will find somebody to talk with.
Absolutely.
Which our first one that we want to talk about is actually, we have our social. We have our ISTE Lib social, which is so fun. So Sherry's going to talk about that.
So our ISTE Lib social is actually sold out right now, but here's what I want to tell you about that. It's on Tuesday night before the ETK karaoke. And if you stop by to see us at the Community Networking Fair, which is Sunday afternoon from 3 to 5, you need to come by, because just come by, come meet us, come say hey, and we can scan your badge, like I said, and get you joined into the ISTE Lib network. But I did hear something about possibly a ticket or two that we're going to be doing a drawing for. So if you didn't manage to get a ticket to our ISTE Lib social, definitely stop by and get your name in for a drawing for a ticket or two. I'm not really sure how many we have, but there definitely will be a giveaway happening during the networking fair. And we'll, of course, tweet it out as far as who wins the ticket and how that works, or tickets. Don't know how many extras we have. But definitely stop by on Sunday afternoon to do that and see us. The social, we are super excited about. Every library and Zubeen are actually sponsoring our social this year. So a big thanks to them for that. And we're excited to be working with both of them as partners. And every library has been partnering with us through this year with our webinars. We have done 3 so far, and we have 2 more on the schedule coming up. And so that's been a partnership that we've really enjoyed for sure. We already talked a little bit about the networking lounges, as far as that's a good place to go if you want to just kind of chill a little bit, as far as like see who's there, who's working. What's that?
Finish your slides.
Oh, yeah. Work on your session that you're presenting in like an hour. If you need to do that, the networking lounge is a good place to do that.
You're not the only one.
Procrastinators here, except for Nancy Jo. Nancy Jo is never a procrastinator.
Not okay. Not okay.
But the networking lounge, again, like you'll probably see some familiar faces there. And the interesting thing to remember is everybody's just a person, even though it's somebody that you like love so much from Twitter. And you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that's Nancy Jo Lambert. She's like my favorite librarian in the whole world. Nancy Jo wants you to come up and say hey, right? I mean, like we all want you to come up and say hey. And
always say hi and say, hey, we're friends. You know, I'm in your PLM on Twitter.
That's right. And everybody, that's a really hard thing for me to do, as far as like I'll see somebody and I'm like, oh my God, that's so and so, and then I have to have Nancy Jo take me to introduce me. So it's okay to be that way, as far as, but most everybody will say, just come up and say hello. They'd love to take a picture with you. They'd love to talk and find out, what you're doing. And so that's the best thing about ISTE is it's all kinds of educators. It's not just librarians. It's not just principals. I mean, from kindergarten teachers to superintendents, there are just all kinds of educators there. And that's what I think makes it so strong and so powerful, to be able to meet and network with so many different people. Hallway learning, that happens too. Nancy Jo mentioned a session last year, and we had people out in the hallway, and that's what they were doing. They were following the Twitter chat because they could not get into the session. And so they were following what was being tweeted, and then they were tweeting questions in, and they kind of all bonded and, started talking. And so that's really good to be able to do that. So it's okay to be a big goofball.
So between all the session attending and going through the vendor hall and networking with people, just be prepared to be exhausted. But remember that this is especially, if you're like on a rotation in terms of being permitted to come to this conference, that take in every opportunity that you can. But there are some tips for those of you that this is your first time going to a conference of this size, where there's really not truly, if you took advantage of every event at ISTE, you would go from, I think the earliest breakfasts are like at 7 in the morning to, 10 at night sometimes. So with no stopping. So just be prepared that if you want to take advantage of every event, you're going to be tired, so you're going to have to schedule some breaks on your own. But we have some other tips from Linda, who has been going to ISTE since 2009, and I think she said she's only missed 1 or 2, maybe.
That's it.
So, yeah, so she's going to give us some tips about what you should pack, what you should bring, what you should wear, just things to keep in mind as you're going through the conference and then in the days coming up.
Okay. Linda's quick survival tips. It's summertime in Chicago. You have got to have water. If you're flying in and you're like, oh, I can't get my water bottle on the plane, blah, 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 go through TSA, get a plastic bottle, drain it on the plane, and then use that bottle the whole time you're in Chicago. Food. Oh, good heavens. The food court will be a zoo, not to mention it will cost you a small fortune. Take some snacks with you. Again, if you're like, hello, I have a little suitcase, carry on. When you get to your hotel, Google the nearest grocery store, drugstore, bakery, cafe, whatever you can find. You and a buddy go down there and shop. You know you're going to want to eat something at 10 o'clock at night before you go to bed. So go get some goodies to take with you.
Not to mention, on every corner.
not to mention, you're going to be sitting with somebody who's drooling while you're eating your power bar. So you better pack some extra ones so you can make new friends and hand them some food to eat. It's a wonderful idea. Oh, and if you're getting free breakfast, be the first one down there to get the bananas and apples because they will be gone with nothing but the oranges left if you don't get down there early. Dressing in layers. It goes without saying. Summertime. I've already checked the weather. It's supposed to thunderstorm almost every night we're there. You're going to need a hoodie, something to put on just to keep the rain off of you. You're going to be near the lake there in Chicago. If you're a shopper like myself and you go into ISTE Central and you go, oh, twinkle, twinkle, bling, bling. There's all the ISTE t-shirts and hoodies. Don't wait. If you see something, buy it Sunday afternoon. It will be gone by Monday. So go shopping then if you have to have an ISTE hoodie to take home. Charging all the stuff that you take with you. Now, on Monday, you will probably take everything you have, your laptop, your iPad, your phone. By Tuesday, you're going to be going, I'm taking one. But you need battery packs, and you have to have your travel little power strip. Not the great big one. You got to go get a little one. You know, those lovely big box stores have those, or Amazon Prime will be your friend. Take something with you. The shuttle buses, always confusion. Check where your hotel is. If you're like myself this time, I'm not staying in a conference hotel, but I'm going to ride the bus over and then walk my 2 blocks to the one I'm staying in because, well, I got a discount on it, so I went that way. But the shuttle is in Chicago. Commuter traffic. It's going to take 30 minutes for that bus to get across town. So if you need to be at the playground on Monday morning at 8 o'clock, you had better be looking for the bus by 6:45, else you're going to be late. So just remember, find which color your bus is. By Wednesday, you'll have it memorized, I hope. Otherwise, you get a tour of Chicago. Walking shoes, we've already talked about that. I don't know if you can see behind me. Hello, 3 new boxes of shoes sitting back there. Yes, I'll probably have my clunky shoes, but I'm all about the cute walking sandals, the Sketcher kind of things, you name it. So yes, I will probably take 3 pairs of shoes because that's just me. I have to have my shoes. We've already mentioned about bringing a pen and notebook because sometimes you're just so tired, or if your power has gone out on your machine, you're toast. So you better have something to write with. Don't worry about your ink pen so much. That is a big exhibit hall thing. As a librarian, I used to stock the library for the whole year by going through and getting a pen from everybody. So just load up. And speaking of loading up on swag, yes, I've been with my sister who had to buy a new suitcase to get her stuff home. I've also used FedEx 2 or 3 times. The conference hall has FedEx or UPS there in case you overload yourself. Also check with your hotel. I have lugged stuff down at the bottom of Embassy Suites, and the man's like, are you crazy? I said, yes, just put it all in. And I shipped it out because in this day and time, it's cheaper to ship it than to buy that suitcase. And it goes without saying, take breaks. I mean, the Missouri crew, we're already planning on a breakout room with the, I think it's the Promethean group down in the exhibit hall. We've already all signed up to go do that together. So check in with your team. Or your new team, otherwise the ISTE librarians. We're going to be all over the place. Just find us. You're going to have your badge all blinged out. And I know some of you will end up adding those ribbons. I have fond memories of Nikki Robertson looking like she was a bridesmaid, dragging her list of ribbons the first time she went. I think Joquetta beat her the next year after that. So there's always the little ribbon princesses. So there's all sorts of things you can do. Enjoy ISTE, but again, take care of yourself and try to get 6 hours of sleep, maybe. Thanks, guys. Anybody else?
And stickers. Like, pick up all the stickers, but don't add them immediately to your laptop. Collect all your stickers and then wait and see which ones you actually want to put on your laptop. Hey. When it comes to ribbons, too, like, a lot of people will actually, like, print their own ribbons and bring ribbons. And so, like, if people are like, hey, I've got ribbons at this, that, or the other, and you're a ribbon person, go get your ribbons.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have our ribbons at the Community Networking Fair on Sunday. So, and there'll be a limited amount of different ones, and then we'll have our special ones for this year's conference. So we usually try and have a couple from past years for people that want to see those as well. I love the tips, Linda, for sure. And that's a big thing, because if you don't take care of yourself, nobody else is going to. So the water and the food and the breaks. Linda didn't mention taking breaks, and Heather's the one saying, you're going from breakfast until 10 o'clock. Yeah, I'm going to be finding those little tiny bits of time when I don't have something scheduled, and I'll just disappear. And that's okay. You do not have to be at ISTE from 7 until 11 that night. It's okay to go back to your hotel room or your Airbnb and just take a break away from people and get refreshed so that you're ready to join back in, because we've already said it's exhausting.
I just added one of those mini tower things to my Amazon cart because of what Linda said. I was like, oh my gosh, I need one of those with like the USB ports and the outlets. It's like this big, but genius, Linda, genius.
It's a great way to make friends. I remember that I took one to one of my first ISTE conference, and when you have a charging port that charges more than just your device and everybody can plug in, it's a great thing.
Got a battery pack with like a bunch of different plugins. I'm gonna be
right. All good things.
Everyone's new friend, because that's what you do.
For sure.
Got koala bear toys when you're from some guys in Australia, because their things were going down, and I plugged them all in. They're like, here, take these. I was like, hey. So yeah, you just never know who you run into, and you just, because remember, it is an international conference. So it's just not all of us here in the States. You're going to run into all kinds of people from everywhere. It's just wonderful.
Yeah. Last thing that I want to mention, guys, is I hope through all of the things we talked about, we really talked about the power of collaboration, meeting new people. I promise you will never have to be alone if you don't want to. Like, put something on Twitter and saying, where are people meeting for dinner tonight? Like, you will have, just be prepared to get a lot of answers. But truly, there is nowhere, we're going to be in Chicago. There's 20,000 people. There's nowhere that you're going to be able to go where you're not going to see somebody from ISTE. And there are a lot of, like I said, networking opportunities, socials that are going on beyond the librarians network. You'll hear about a lot of those in the vendor hall. Those are great opportunities just to meet new people. Sherry, Nance, and Joe and I met 3 years ago, almost at a conference. And,
look out for your edu soulmates, man. You'll find them at conferences.
Yes. And another conference we went to at TCEA, and we stayed in contact via Voxer. Really, I cannot stress enough the power of meeting people that are, you know what it's like. You've heard this before. Librarians are in a very isolating sometimes role, and so to find somebody that is like they hear you, they're in the same situation as you, or they push you to challenge your thoughts and things like that. I cannot stress the importance, and you will find those people at this conference. Your odds are really good. It's 20,000 people. You find somebody. So anyway, with all of that, we're a little bit longer than we wanted to go, but it just shows that we are really excited about ISTE. It is my favorite conference of all time. It is like a vacation for me. A vacation, exhausting.
Yeah, crazy, stressful, running around vacation, but yeah.
Yes, but it's exciting, and I love it, and there's so much energy, and something that you will walk away with is that energy. Like, you will be inspired, I promise. Even if you go to a crappy session, you're going to go to a million other sessions that are just inspiring. When I say crappy, I just mean it wasn't what you were looking for. It's not something for you, but there are so many opportunities. And again, just being around other people that want to learn and grow together and believe in doing what's right for kids, that it kind of makes you remember like why you're giving up part of your summer vacation to go to a conference in Chicago. Anyway, I would encourage you, if you have any questions about ISTE, anything, that we are all here to help you with that. Reach out on Twitter. There's the Facebook community. ISTE also has its own discussion board just for the PLN. Once you sign up for ISTE, renew your membership, you can join this community. Like Sherry said, it's completely free. You can also
those are good. Those are good stuff.
Right. Yes.
It's getting ready to update too, because I got my email from Simon. So that community is getting even better. So we'll look for a new look probably right around ISTE time. We see it Friday, I think.
So in short, ISTE is big, it's overwhelming, but it is awesome. And we are here to help you make the most out of that time. So if there's anything that any 4 of us can do individually for you or just as a PLN, use those hashtags, check out that Facebook group. We are here to help, and we are so excited to meet you in just a few weeks, because really it's like right around the corner, guys.
So, like 10 days.
I'm so excited!
So get your slides done, people.
Get your slides done now.
I mean, get your slides started for some people.
Come see us. Come say hey. Tweet us and all of those things. And definitely, any questions at all, definitely tweet out to the hashtag or direct message us or any of those great things, and we'll be glad to help you out.
The website. We have all of that good stuff. The schedule, the playground schedule, all of that good stuff is on the website. And like Sherry said, you know, if we stop by the networking fair, we'll be having those tickets for the social. Check social media too, because obviously if we can, we're going to fit as many awesome librarians in that social as we can. So thank you guys for joining us tonight, and I guess we'll see you soon.
Okay, see you at ISTE.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.